All right, folks, I'm going to do a really quick rundown of how to do a simple setup for the Grandmaster controllers on a two-channel light. I have a far red channel and a base white spectrum. So what I've done first is the hookup. So I took the RJ45, which is a little bit bigger network cable, the blue cable that comes in the box with the controller, hooked it up to the splitter box, which also comes with a controller. And then off of that, I've got two RJ14 cables, one for each channel. You see it's how they're labeled: 1, 3, 2, 4. And so 1 and 2 I'm using because I only have a two-channel light. And this is for daisy chaining. If I had more than one of these lights and I wanted to control them all the same, I would go from another RJ45 from this one to the next light white on the first one. See, and then they're daisy chain like that, and so on and so on. But since I'm just hooking up the one light, I've got one going into here, one going into here, and nothing coming out these sides because they're not being daisy chained. Make sure your dimmers, I don't think it matters, but I always make sure they're at 100 anyway. That's step one. Then once you get your, I'm not going to go through all of the setup that's in the book. Maybe I'll shoot other videos for that, but I've already set my time. I will show you how to set up the timer so that you can control the far red. That's the biggest question right now. How can I make my far red stay on later? And this is not the cycle you want, but that's my timer off, timer on. I hit the wrong button. I wanted the timer set. So on my timer set is where you add your customized schedules. And you normally when you come on, you don't see anything. There's no schedule. So when you hit plus, in fact, I'll just trash these. Trash, trash, trash. When you hit plus, you can set up any schedule you want. There's your 4 channels that you have available. The bottom 2 channels, 3 and 4, since we have a 2-channel light, we're not using 3 and 4. So those are always going to be 0. We're not using those channels. The other 2 channels are, we got our base white spectrum on 1, and on 2 we plugged into the far red. So to turn the lights on, we want them, if you wanted both on, this is how I run them. Boom, I want them both on at whatever your start time is. So right now we're at 5:30. So to avoid turning the light on at this moment, I'm gonna change the time to, well, hell, we'll keep it right there at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock's a good time for my light to turn on. I say okay. Now, say I want my light to turn off at, it's not going to be an hour later, but we're going to just set it up that way just so you can see how this all works. You can set it up for whatever time you like. But we're going to say for the shut off time, which is the next cycle, we want to keep the reds on, which is on 2. So we're going to leave that at 100. Keep the reds on, the far reds on. But we want the lights to turn off like normal. So only far red's going to stay on with this execution at, it's got to be after the 8 o'clock time that I just set. So I'll say at 8:01. No, I'll say at 8 o'clock. Make it an even hour. 9 o'clock, because we were starting at 8 o'clock. 100%. And now I need so now I've told it that at 8 o'clock I want both channels on at 100%. At 9 o'clock I want my whites to go off and I want my far reds to stay on at 100%. So I need one more cycle because I've only turned the regular channel off. I need to turn the far reds off. I don't want to leave them on all the time. So I need one more to tell the far reds to shut off. So I'm going to say at this time, which will say 15 minutes past 9. Just these numbers, you can experiment with whatever you want. I'm just using these numbers as an example to make it easy. 15. So now what I'm telling it is, oops, channel 1's got some there. Now by 9:15, all lights are going to be off at 0%. I'm going to say okay. Now I've set up a schedule for turn on at 8 o'clock, both channels. At 9 o'clock, shut off the main channel. And at 9:15, shut off all channels. And that's how you set that up. I'm going to run it back to with those channels I had before because I only had them a minute apart so you could actually see the light turning on and off by itself. But once you've got everything set and they're set to enable, you can even set custom schedules in here, saved in here, and have them turned off. and then maybe you only want to run that custom schedule for the last week of flowers. Then you, instead of having to input it the last week of flower, you can just have it already in there and then just hit yes and enable it for that week. And there we go, we're back. Right now I've got it turned off because we're not at the 8 o'clock, so all channels are off. This is basically your intensity setting. These are each of your channel settings. This is spectrum tuning too, if you have a spectrum tuning light. If you have multiple colors on different channels, you could change these percentages to get to the spectrum you want and then dim with this percentage. I hope that helps everybody. If you have any more questions, let me know.